Today, first thing I'm going to be telling you about, I was speaking to a lad, and he works for a medium-sized company, and he said that they wanted £1 million. You know, this loans that you can get off the banks, the interest-free loans you get off the banks. Well, this particular company turns over about several £1 million is all you need to know, and they have properties all over the place. They wanted to borrow £1 million, and the bank said, yeah, we can do that, but you need to use your whole business as collateral, your home as collateral, and your partner's home as collateral. And they wanted £7 million worth of collateral. This is the bank, £7 million worth of collateral for a £1 million loan. Now, call me crazy, or if you like, I don't really care, but say that the bank knew that there was going to be a crash and no one would be able to pay back any loans. Wouldn't this be a perfect opportunity to steal property off everyone? Just a warning to yous there. Hitler's Enabling Act of 1933. Forced detention and isolation of anyone, including children, and for any amount of time. Authorities can take biological samples from your body by force, including at the point of a gun. Nobody's legal rights are recognised in the as yet unidentified isolation facilities which are quickly being built around the country. Emergency powers will last up to 2 years, with reviews every 6 months, and the unrestricted option to extend indefinitely. Lockdown powers have been drafted so that they can be used to prevent mass protests against the totalitarian measures imposed. State surveillance safeguards have effectively been abolished, authorising total surveillance of every aspect of our lives in the 5G control grid they are erecting while everybody is imprisoned in their homes. Protections from forced detainment and cruel and unnecessary treatment under the Mental Health Act have been relaxed indefinitely. Cremations can be enforced against personal and religious wishes. No inquest into any suspicious deaths will be held until further notice. No requirements for any medical certification for burials or cremations are now required. The health service has been indemnified should they fail for whatever reason to provide care to people who need it, or if they administer forced treatment and the patient dies as a result. Only the government-appointed medical officer is required to sign off compulsory treatment orders, which mean you can be forcibly medicated or held down and injected with whatever is seen fit by whosoever your caring and compassionate government chooses to answer to, nobody but them. Local authorities are also now exempt from compliance with their duties under the Care Act of 2014, but they are still seeking parking bandits to fine you for parking in front of your home you have been imprisoned in. If someone dies in police custody or any type of custody, they can simply dispose of the body without any paperwork, medical exam or certification or inquest. Any criticism of government policy is a summary public order offence until they end the state of emergency, liable to fine and imprisonment without trial. Except that isn't Hitler's Enabling Act of 1933. That is the 2020 Coronavirus Act. That is what's in it, although it's almost identical to the Enabling Act of Hitler. We are in a dictatorship. The government are going after us all, every single one of us. And this is what it looks like. I was only putting the bins out. I just heard a lady on a live broadcast that said her sister-in-law just died the other day from a heart attack, and they told the family they were going to add she died of COVID-19. The family said, "Oh no, you're not, she died of a heart attack." The funeral director said, we were told by the state that anyone who didn't die by a gunshot wound or a car accident were listed as COVID-19 victims. There has been people over and over who have been coming out telling people that numbers are a lie because they did the same thing with their loved ones. I just wanted to share this, that the deaths need to be investigated. So you're telling me the same guy that said we can lower the amount of people on Earth with vaccines is now making a vaccine and the people can't wait to get injected with it? Everyone jumps off bridge after new government order telling everyone to jump off bridge. US. After state governments across the country directed their citizens to shut down their business and just kind of hope things worked out, a new order has been issued. Everyone is to jump off a bridge immediately. A government official issued the order to solve our current crisis and everyone immediately complied. Everyone jump off a bridge, said a representative of the government. OK, said everyone. If the government says so, it's probably a good idea. Besides, what can we do? It's the government. They definitely have the best people working on it. The directive was designed to end coronavirus. Medical experts believe it's the best, most effective way to stop the virus. Assuming everyone follows through and obeys the order, coronavirus will be wiped out, according to officials. There are no bad side effects. As far as anyone can tell, a few people pointed out that it could kill everyone, but these people are anti-science and obviously hate their neighbours. COVID-19 death figures, a substantial overestimate. Bizarre guidelines from health authorities around the world are potentially including thousands of deceased patients who were never even tested. A few weeks ago, we reported that according to the Italian Institute of Health, ISS, only 12% of Italy's reported COVID-19 deaths actually listed COVID-19 as the cause of death. Given that 99% of them had at least one serious comorbidity and that 80% of them had two such diseases, this raised serious questions as to the reliability of Italy's reported statistics. Professor Walter Riccardi, advisor to Italy's health minister, explained this was caused by the generous way the Italian government handles death certificates. The way in which we code deaths in our country is very generous, in the sense that all the people who die in hospitals with the coronavirus are deemed to be dying of the coronavirus. Essentially, Italy's death registration process does not differentiate between those who simply have the virus in their body and those who are dying of something else. Canadian pharmaceutical billionaire and wife found dead in Toronto in suspicious circumstances. Police are investigating whether one of Canada's richest men may have killed his wife before committing suicide, according to reports. Whenever suicide's mentioned, you know it's dodgy. Barry Sherman, 75, the founder of pharmaceutical giant Apotex, and his wife Honey were discovered hanging side by side near their indoor swimming pool in Toronto. Canada's Globe and Mail and Toronto Sun newspaper reported that police were investigating whether Sherman killed his wife and hung her body before killing himself. A police source told the Toronto Sun forensics need to be done and post-mortems on the bodies, but at this stage it appears that there was no forced entry and no evidence of anybody else in the house. Coronavirus. Tech firms summoned over crackpot 5G conspiracies. What do you take from this? And also the fact that the health secretary, Matt Wancock, came out and said, over to you, we've got to tackle this 5G bullshit. What does this tell you? It tells you that we are winning the info war. The culture secretary is to order social media companies to be more aggressive in their response to conspiracy theories linking 5G networks to the coronavirus pandemic, because we know what they're up to and they're trying desperately to shut it down. Oliver Dowden plans to hold virtual meetings with representatives for several tech firms next week to discuss the matter. It follows a number of 5G masts apparently being set on fire. The issue will test the company's commitments to free speech. Earlier in the week, blazes were reported at masts in Birmingham, Liverpool and Melling in Merseyside. A spokesman for Vodafone's mobile network told the BBC there had been a total of 4 further incidents over the past 24 hours at both its own sites and those shared with O2, but did not identify the locations. We have received several reports of criminal damage to phone masts and abuse of telecom engineers, apparently inspired by crackpot conspiracy theories circulating online, a spokeswoman for the Department of Digital Culture, Media and Sport told the BBC. Those responsible for criminal acts will face the full force of the fake law. We must also see social media companies acting responsibly and taking much swifter action to stop nonsense spreading on their platforms which encourages such acts. DCMS has yet to confirm which tech companies are being summoned. Complete rubbish. False theories are being spread on smaller platforms such as Nextdoor, Pinterest, and the petition site change.org, as well as larger ones including Facebook, Twitter, YouTube and TikTok. Scientists have said the idea of a connection between COVID-19 and 5G is complete rubbish and biologically impossible, even though they've done no safety tests whatsoever on 5G. Just bear that in mind. Several of the platforms have already taken steps to address the problem, but have not banned discussion on the subject outright. Pinterest, for example, limits its search results for coronavirus and related terms to showing pinned information from recognised health organisations, but does not have a comparable restriction for 5G. More corruption for you here. The stocks senators unloaded before the coronavirus crash. Senator Richard Burr has called for an ethics investigation into him and 3 other senators who sold off stock after receiving classified briefings on the coronavirus threat. Burr, a North Carolina Republican who is chairman of the Senate Intelligence Committee, sold up to $1.72 million in stock through February 13th, shortly before reassuring the public that the government had a handle on the coronavirus response. A week later, the S&P 500 index started what would become a 30% drop, wiping out most gains made since President Donald Trump's inauguration. In a tweet on Friday, Burr denied any wrongdoing, saying that he relied solely on public news reports to inform his decisions. Utter lies and deception. Here's how well those stocks performed after he sold them. How each security performed since the Senator Burr sold shares. Data from January 2nd to March 19, 2020. As you can see, them all dive. And there. All of them dive. And they had advance warning about it. Another senator, under scrutiny, Georgia Republican Kelly Loeffler, sold off millions of dollars worth of stock beginning on January 24th, the day the health committee she sits on was briefed by US public health officials. If Loeffler, who is married to New York Stock Exchange chairman Jeffrey Sprecher, had held onto those stocks, she would have lost up to $1.5 million. How each security performed since Senator Loeffler first bought or sold shares. Links in description if you want to see the whole lot, but you can see it's total and utter illegal insider trading. Exercising outside could be banned if people keep ignoring rules. They are just rules. They aren't laws, rules, but they would have you believe it's a law, even though it's not. All outdoor exercise could be completely banned if people continue to flout social distancing rules, the health secretary has warned. Matt Wancock said sunbathing in public spaces was against the government guidance. Just guidance, but, we're going to start sanctioning you if you do. And told those who dared to how dare you disobey him, that they are putting their own and other lives at risk. Bullshit. As temperatures rose across the country, some parks closed because too many people had ignored the advice to stay at home. It's just advice, and people want to get out in the sun and be free. But when you live in a dictatorship, that's not allowed. Mr. Wancock told the BBC, "We've said it's okay to go for exercise because both the physical and mental health benefits of getting some exercise are really important. Health Secretary suggests exercise ban is coming if people don't follow quarantine rules." It's a dictatorship. Belarus leader books coronavirus psychosis, plays hockey. "It is better to die on your feet than live on your knees," said President Alexander Lukashenko, who hit the ice for a weekend hockey game. That's how you're going to have to decide whether you want to live the rest of your life. On your knees or standing and fighting. Moscow. While officials from Montreal to Moscow have placed populations under some form of lockdown designed to slow the spread of the fake coronavirus, one man continues to hold firm to the notion that the rest of the world has lost its mind. Belarusian President Alexander Lukashenko. "It's better to die on your feet than live on your knees," Lukashenko told a Belarusian television reporter Saturday when asked whether the coronavirus could stop him from hitting the ring for a propaganda-filled hockey game. "Me? Why? I don't understand. There is no virus here," Lukashenko said, gesturing around the area. "This is a refrigerator. It is the best thing for your health. Sport, especially on ice, is better than any antiviral medication. It's the real thing." He knows it's fake, folks. If you tell a lie big enough and keep repeating it, people will eventually come to believe it. The lie can be maintained only for such time as the state can shield the people from the political, economic and/or military consequences of the lie. It thus becomes vitally important for the state to use all of its powers to repress dissent. For the truth is the mortal enemy of the lie, and thus by extension, the truth is the greatest enemy of the state. Metro. We'll meet again. The Queen echoes song of Force's sweetheart Dame Vera. Fears as sick PMs taken to hospital. Boris undergoing tests as he fights persistent symptoms for 10 days, yet nobody's seen him cough or sneeze or anything. Hippocratic oath. Yes, that's what she looks like. If you don't know what the story's about, just do a bit of research. I'm not doing it all for you. Telegraph. Johnson taken to hospital for coronavirus treatment. Bullshit, because there is no treatment. Never forget that. There is no treatment. And there's been doctors coming out and saying they're treating people with these respirators. It's wrong. It's causing them to die because it's not a coronavirus that's causing it. They're suggesting it's something else. I've got 5 ideas of what that G could be. Better days will come. We will meet again. Scotland under fire. Chief medic resigns. However, they didn't resign. That's just bullshit. Outdoor exercise ban threat. Are you disobeying your master, your dictator? Then we're going to ban you from going out. Firms ignore official advice and buy masks. US told it faces Pearl Harbor moment. Oh, so just like 9/11 then, another Pearl Harbor moment. Have we not learned from the past? Clubs may lose trust of players over wage cuts. UK will avoid inflation spiral, says bank chief. That means vast inflation is coming. Mega inflation. By design. The Times. PM taken to hospital over virus symptoms. Johnson admitted as a precaution 10 days after testing positive. Better days will return, Queen tells the nation. Yes, but not for you lot. Your days are numbered. Daily Fail. Boris taken to hospital. Who gives a shit? No one anymore. We will meet again. Queen evokes virulent and stirring bullshit. Mirror. Chris Peckham, his fantastic new lockdown wildlife watch series. Oh, something to keep you inside. Queen's message, hope. We'll meet again. We will succeed, and that success will belong to every one of us. Better days will return. We will be with our friends and our families again. But you lot will be dead because you let 5G be rolled out and massacre everyone. but we'll be safe in our underground bunkers. The utter scum. PM Hospital Dash. Queen reassures nation. We will be with our friends and family again. We will be with our families again. Yeah, right. We will meet again, you lying bitch. Express. Why I choose a path different to my dad. Queen's broadcast. I'm not even reading that shit. All it is that silly old cow. It should be in jail. It should have been in jail a long, long time ago. I, Hancock, obey rules or face bans. If you don't obey the dictator, we will stop you from going out altogether. Health Secretary warns government will take action after crowds flout official guidelines. Scottish Chief Medic Officer sanctioned after visiting her second home twice. Advisor suggests pandemic could peak for UK in 10 days and lockdown end in weeks. Almost 100,000 NHS workers off sick with symptoms, but many still unable to get tests. Tributes paid to midwife and nursing assistant, latest frontline workers to lose lives. Fears of obesity, double whammy for children as families turn towards cheap food. US warned of brace for Pearl Harbor moment as deaths predicted to surge. So we're just guessing then that the deaths are going to surge, but we're telling you that so that, you all panic. Gastropub to greengrocer. Food firms adapt to lockdown life. Hard labour. 6 crucial challenges to Keir Starmer. Well, one of them would be like when he was head of the CPS and he said there was no evidence against Jimmy Savile to charge him with raping children. That's who Keir Starmer is, the new leader of the Labour Party. Connie Hugg. How to talk to children about coronavirus. Hamish McRae. What we need to get the world back to work. The Guardian. Scientists in warning over unreliable testing kits. Half of the results may be inaccurate, experts say, of equipment hailed by PM as game changer. So it doesn't work. Like we said, there is no test. The problem is after a couple of weeks, the detection rate remains 50 to 6%, especially in mild or asymptomatic cases. Queen sends message of hope to we'll meet again, yeah. Utter waste of paper. You're out of order. What, for going swimming by myself? That's isolating by myself. But no, I'm not allowed to do that because of some rule that they've made up. It's just a rule. Doesn't have any power whatsoever. However, as we heard, the draconian dictatorial powers they gave themselves right at the thing at the beginning there. This is a dictatorship forming in your face. Kelvin, I'm off. Footy at war. Corrie shock. The masked vigilantes. COVID crackpots burn 4 more 5G towers. Crackpots? No, they know that they're killing people. They're heroes. They're not crackpots, they are heroes. Financial Times. No lingering. Police patrol public spaces. Relaxation of capital rules adds 500 billion to banks. Virus armoury. Bid to keep credit lines flowing. Lending capacity raised by 5 trillion. Dividends frozen. Saudi-Russia squabble over oil crash. Prompts threat of tariffs from Trump. Starmer turns to soft left with new shadow cabinet. Let's not forget, he's a paedophile, or at the very least, a paedophile protector. And who would protect a paedophile? Well, I would suggest that there's only another paedophile that would protect a paedophile. None of us would. I know that for a fact. And none of you would. I know that for a fact. And finally, blonde men jokes. A blonde man is in the bathroom and his wife shouts, "Did you find the shampoo?" He answers, "Yes, but I'm not sure what to do. It's for dry hair and I just wet mine." A blonde man spots a letter on his doormat. It says on the envelope, "Do not bend." He spends the next 2 hours trying to figure out how to pick it up. A blonde man shouts frantically into the phone, "My wife is pregnant and her contractions are only 2 minutes apart." "Is this her first child?" asks the doctor. "No," he shouts, "this is her husband."